Hey y'all, this is All of Destiny, and in this video I will be sharing with you all how I did my own glittered acrylic nails at home. I thought it would be a good idea just to show you all the difference between using sculpting forms and nail tips in one set. So I'm starting off with the Super Nail Clear Acrylic Powder, and I'm just going to pour some of that into 3 of these stackable jars. Then I'm going to go ahead and mix different shades of blue in one jar. I wanted to do pink in that second jar, but you'll see that it was more so like a peachy glitter. And then in that third jar, we'll do a silver glittered acrylic mix. I like to kind of mix up my own glitters versus purchasing like the pre-packaged glitters in the store. For one, you get a larger amount and you have control over how much glitter is actually in that mix. So yeah, just my personal opinion. Definitely try it out for yourself if you would like. And you can just get the glitters wherever you see them in different stores and just mix it up. Just be sure that you use enough clear acrylic powder. So that is actually a glittered acrylic mix. So these are the nail tips that I'll be using. I got this idea when I was in Dollar Tree and I saw these tips and it was like $84. I was like, oh my God, when I was purchasing nail tips back in 2011, I could not get $84. So I'm applying primer to all of my nails. Primer just ensures that the acrylic will stick or adhere better to the nail for a longer lasting set. I'm using the Super Nail Professional liquid. The acrylic liquid is by the same brand as well. So we're going to start off using the Sculpting Forms. They do have numbers on them. I like to use number 5, or that's what I'll be using, number 5 for this entire set. The shape that I'll be doing is kind of like stiletto, kind of almond. I say kind of because it's not super pointy like a stiletto, but it's not as curved as that almond shape either. So I just don't want to, you know, claim one over the other if it's not that perfectly correct shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and start out by kind of doing just like a glittered French tip on that first one, and then I'm going to encapsulate or cover that entire nail with clear acrylic. And I'm just trying to mix in some more pink because it wasn't really, it wasn't pink like I thought it was going to be. So on this next one, it looks funny as I'm shaping the glitter at first, but the design that I was going for was kind of just like that angled shape of the silver, which will then go into the blue, and then the rest of the nail is going to be clear towards the nail bed. And when working with the glitters, less is definitely more because you don't really want to, you know, not have control over the glitter. And as far as how I pretty much manage control over the glitter is that I kind of wipe off the excess on the brush when I dip into the liquid. That way it's not too runny. And those kinds of things you just learn over time with doing the nails and with what products you use. And also all of the nails again are going to be encapsulated or covered with clear acrylic. I get as close as I can to the cuticle area, but not exactly on the cuticle area because that will definitely cause lifting, whether you're using nail tips or sculpting forms. So another reason that I do like to use sculpting forms over tips is because regardless, even if you have the smallest amount of growth, like the smallest amount of growth from your nail bed, you can still use a sculpting form. But compared to a nail tip, like you have to actually have some kind of length to your nail to even have something to glue the nail tip onto, if that makes sense. And as far as the way that I pick out the colors that I'm going to use, normally when I'm doing my nails, I will at least have the colors in mind. Well, sometimes. If y'all follow me on Twitter, then you all know that I usually just ask you all what colors I should use. But as far as like saying I want to put the silver here or the blue there, I never usually have that in mind. I'm really just freestyling this as I go along. So I finished all of the right hand. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the left hand. And I did go ahead and size up the tips. And the reason that using tips is a little more, not my personal preference. For one, the tips have to be like perfectly sized. If they're too large, they'll come off and they'll just kind of hang off on the sides. Or if they're too small and you press down too hard, they'll crack the nail tip and then that'll cause it not to last as long as well. So another thing is I feel that it takes longer to really prepare your nails to do when you're using nail tips. Like the shape that I have here, don't get me wrong, you can buy the shape that you like. Like I think they sell the stiletto shapes I've seen on eBay, but since I grabbed these in Dollar Tree, I didn't really have that option. But I'm just pretty much cutting down the sides, and then I'm just going to go ahead and shape the nail to the actual stiletto shape, just like we did on the right hand. So So as you all can see here, compared to using the sculpting forms where you kind of just go straight in with the form and you just build that shape, you have to kind of prepare that nail beforehand when you're using a tip, and then you just got to file it down. And depending on how large it covers the top of your nail bed, you have to file that down as well if you're going to use clear all over, because you don't really want that tip to be seen, if that makes sense. And also keep in mind that I'm not filing on top of my natural nail, just the actual nail tip. So once we got all of that taken care of, you want to go ahead and remove the dust and everything. And then when you apply the primer, you only put the primer on your actual nail, your nail bed, not the nail tip, because that'll kind of cause discoloration, and you don't really want that primer on that nail tip if you want it to last a long time. So once all of those steps are taken care of compared to the sculpting forms, that's when you pretty much just go ahead and you apply whatever kind of glitter you want to use right onto that nail. And again, it's still that same process of not getting whatever glitter, acrylic or just the clear acrylic powder onto that actual cuticle area, because that will cause lifting, just the same as on the sculpting form or when you're using sculpting forms. And I was kind of switching this in between my brushes as well. So you'll see that I'm using the gold finger flat brush number 4, and then that larger one that I'm grabbing is the brush number 6. I did end up losing the footage of me filing and buffing my nails, but I did just use a hand filer, and then I just buffed my nails, rinsed my hands off and things like that. And that process is pretty much the same whether you use your sculpting forms or nail tips, because we did go ahead and shape the nail where we did the tips before we laid the acrylic. Definitely keep that in mind if you're going to change the shape of the nail tip afterwards or before. You want to go ahead and shape the tip before you lay the acrylic. Trust me, the process is so hard to file down that much acrylic if you wanted to change that shape, if that makes sense. So I won't lie to y'all, this is like 2 days later. I didn't even feel like designing my nails right after I was done, but that also shows you all that my nails do last. I don't have lifting or anything like that. And I'm just using a dotting tool to just randomly place some dots onto my nails just to bring out the design a little bit more. And then I'm also going to add in a few rhinestones using just a little DIY what do you call it, wax pencil that I made. So you pretty much just light a candle, put the candle out after a few minutes, and then dip it into that wax, let it cool, and you have yourself a wax pencil. And I kid you not, like, this was like so much quicker. If you've seen me fumble with the rhinestones in my videos before, I'm so glad that I have this. So let's go ahead and get back to the actual difference between, you know, the sculpting forms and the tips. So for me, I think that my personal preference and my biasness, is that a word, biasness? I don't know, we're gonna roll with it for now, but that I more so prefer sculpting forms is because, for one, you kind of just go straight in and just put that form up under the nail, and then you're actually able to just build whatever shape you would like. Compared to nail tips, I feel like you have to do a little bit of work before you even begin working with your acrylic. And not only that, but the wear and tear between the nail forms and the nail tips. On the nail or the actual nail tips, I feel that when people kind of complain about their nails getting weak towards that free edge and different things like that, it's because you actually have that stress right there where you glue the nail tip at, compared to an actual sculpting form. When you actually put the form under your nail, you're pretty much just having like an extension of acrylic on that entire nail, so you don't have that much stress. So right here, let me go ahead and catch up to where we are. I'm just showing you all what my nails look like. I think this was 3 days after the actual footage of me designing my nails. And so I'm just showing you all that I don't have any lifting. All of my rhinestones were still in place. Aside from that, I just kind of keep my cuticles clean just by taking some kind of sugar scrub or coffee scrub to just clean that up, and then I just apply some lotion just to maintain my nails throughout those weeks of wearing them. And that's pretty much it, because I'm running out of voiceover space. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Questions or comments, be sure to leave all of that down below as well. I'm out of breath, and I'll talk to y'all later.